All right, guys, welcome back. Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm. Been trying to record this video. At least this would be the third time today. So today I'm going to get into my review of Mirage Comics Casey Jones. Minor disclaimer: uh, when I review my figures, when you see them, they will to some degree be altered, customized in some way, shape, or form. So what you'll see in my review may not be reflective of the figure that you may have or intend to have. So without a further ado, let's get this out of the way. So as some of you may notice, for those of you who regularly collect this line, Casey has a different arm than what he's packaged with, which would be like prototypically these two arms right here, right? I had taken the arm from a elite foot soldier to sort of, I guess, get some idea of like his goalie glove that he has in some other versions of TMNT. Maybe not the best, but at least something. Also, like, yeah, I did sort of like draw with like missing teeth. I remember trying to wipe it off because like I just took a pen, like like a regular ink pen, got some super glue, put it over it, and then tried to wipe it off, fix some minor mistakes. But it turned out all right. It turned out all right. Yeah, it turned out pretty good, I'd say. Also, love the detail in his hair here. Now, to get some idea of the articulation, as you can already see, he has double jointed knees, thigh swivel, waist swivel, though I wouldn't try to twist this up here because, well, it doesn't twist. It's an ab crunch. Surprisingly good ab crunch. Nothing on Marvel Legends level, which I'll be making a video about. People talking about that. As you can see, I put the ultimate foot soldier's dagger or sword in here. I don't know. Sometimes he uses different weapons, which is pretty cool. Love the line art on his on all throughout these figures. His ankles, they hinge, pivot, feet swivel. I'm trying to make this video as quick as possible because I'm recording this all on my phone, and I'd rather not the video just randomly cut off, so I'd want to make this video as quick as possible. I had also customized his mask a little bit. I had taken the belt from a knockoff Mirage figure that I had before. I had at least like my second set being, the original knockoff Mirage set that you would see in my last review. Taking the belt off of one of those figures, not one of those figures, but an older version of those that I had, cut it up and just used it as an extra strap for this mask, because originally I had just cut off like the top piece, but that would have looked weird, and that's not exactly what Casey Jones's hockey mask looks like, So I decided to just do this because, like, while I love this head sculpt, it's a really nice head sculpt. I mean, this is how he looks throughout most of the comic, right? Because in most of the comic, his eyes aren't exactly whited out when he wears his hockey mask. You could see his eyes. So I guess like this will fit in better with like his later appearances. And speaking of later appearances, I'm going to do a quick comparison time. Here he is standing next to the 2012 Casey Jones. Goodness, how far we have come. Not that long ago. I mean, this was like, I guess, like the best I could hope for out of a Casey figure, not including the 2007 or 2003 Casey Jones figure. Prior to, like, I guess the renaissance of all these like collector-based figures coming out. And here he is next to the what was my favorite, and I probably should have started this video off by saying like because I never had, because prior to this, a few days ago, I never intended on buying this Casey Jones figure. In fact, I never even intended on buying any NECA figures whatsoever because I didn't think they'd ever get that deep into the line. But surprisingly, they did. Tried to cope by telling myself, no, I'm not going to buy this. I'm not going to buy this. And I was like, you know what? I got the money. Why not? Now, this look is, at least the sculpt here, minus, the shoulder pad, which, minus that one Rick Veitch comic that came out a few years back, Casey did not wear like any sort of like armor, so this is fairly accurate to like how it looks throughout most of the comic. This like body type right here is pretty accurate to like how he appears throughout most of the Mirage comic. Yeah, like, though, like, I probably said this in like some of my earlier videos, like as a person who primarily collected the Super 7 Ultimates line, mainly because, well, I thought that this line would never really get the proper treatment that it would deserved. So I mostly just collected, hey, why not just collect the Super 7 Ultimates line, get all the figures that I want from that, and just have those be my definitive Turtles figures. While I do love collecting, I'd rather not be buying 100,000 different versions or 100,000 different characters and stuff like that. Though I do have a rather large collection. Like if they came out with a 2012 like collector's style Casey Jones, or 2012 series, I would buy it. Or a 2003 series, I'd buy it. I already have this, so I'm not really gonna be going in at all on the Toon line from NECA or the movie line from NECA. Like it's just not necessary. And speaking of lines, here he is standing next to, since I always like to keep them in this pose, I guess Mikey is the one that like is standing upright enough to where you could get like a proper height scale. Here he is standing next to the original Mirage Comics Michelangelo knockoff figure, though it is close enough. A lot of people on Reddit, when they saw images of my figure, they said, is that an official one that you customized? No, it's just the same old knockoff. And here he is standing next to the Lawson Raphael, or the Return to New York Raphael. Lawson, at the time, you couldn't really tell much of the difference between him, Eric Talbot, or even like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's art, because like I guess he was like trying to go off of like what they did. He's developed his art style more over the years, and well, I mean, like it's all right in my opinion. It's pretty cool. It's always good to see artists, develop their style and stuff like that. This is also like I guess a lot closer, a more accurate representation of like the height difference between Raph and Casey. Since I had been rereading the original Mirage comics, at least up to volume 3 anyway. And here he is standing next to, as you can probably hear them in the background, here he is. They haven't come out with the April figure yet, but here he is standing next to Renette. Which, one thing that I did notice throughout the Mirage comics was that characters that have come out today that would be more considered side characters or characters that make like one-off appearances seem to have a more like important role in the story, or more like of an active role. Characters like Renette, Savanti Romero are like more like regular villains than I guess, what you would consider today guys like Bebop, Rocksteady, Mr. Null, and even Shredder to a certain extent. Which is one thing that I liked about the Mirage comics is that the villains in it, they always seem to be pretty self-contained for the most part. You know, you didn't really see stuff like villains always constantly making alliances, or, you know, villains always had their own motivations, not really intending to, you know, do team-ups or gang up on the Turtles. Though that is cool, I like that, how they have that set apart from them. And speaking of Eric Talbot, here he is standing next to the, hey there, here he is standing next to the Wanderer figure. Now, like, this was an issue written and illustrated by issue 17. It was issue 17. It was written and illustrated by Kevin Eastman and Eric Talbot. The eyes should be probably a little bigger to better reflect the art style, though it's pretty alright, though it looks a little close to Jim Lawson's work, because Jim Lawson never really drew the turtles with like the mouth like this, but it's pretty good. But also back then I couldn't really tell much of a difference between Eric Talbot and Jim Lawson, though that even in the early 2000s that'd be pretty difficult to tell apart too. And for another size comparison, here he is standing next to the Foot Elite Guard that I switched his arms with. As you can tell. I don't really, you know, mind it too much. I know it's a little jarring looking, but here he is. Here he is standing next to this. Here he is standing next to this guy. And for the last comparison, the last two comparisons, oh goodness, this as of right now is the largest or the tallest figure I have in this Mirage line. Let me try to see if I can get him standing up. Right up. While he's standing up, he's falling down. Sorry if you guys can hear the baby. I guess he just woke up. Here he is standing next to Savanti Romero, and here he is standing next to Baxter Stockman. Pretty good and accurate, and fairly accurate height comparisons, though I've never really seen Casey take on Savanti Romero. I would like to buy some probably Jurassic Park figures to put alongside this guy's, like, you know, little dinosaur army to fight the turtles with. Love these little effect pieces here. So yeah, with those out of the way, time for my final thoughts. This is a really good figure. This is a really, I'm really glad to have had this figure. No, I probably didn't get into like a lot of stuff like the accessories and all that. You know, you could probably look to other reviews for this stuff. Usually when I like to do my reviews, I like to get into the character history. I like to get into just a lot of the nitty gritty and stuff like that. Though this Casey Jones figure is mostly based off his first appearance, I don't really remember too much of him wearing wraps like this on his arms. So I guess they did take some creative liberties or stuff like this. In fact, in the original Mirage comics, I don't even think that he wore gloves on his hands in that first issue in the Raphael Micro series, or even in the issue 10 or issue 11. What goes around comes around, where they get jumped at the shop, or the second time around shop. But yeah, that's my review. Keep collecting, and GOONGALLA.